take very seriously, but with my family and with my role of air ambulance, for instance.
Was the Queen for a very long time. And although you kind of know that this might happen,
A royal scandal is unraveling, one that could shake the very foundations of the British monarchy. Camilla, Queen Consort, has allegedly defied Queen Elizabeth's final wishes, leaving Prince William stunned. But why? What could the Queen have foreseen that made her put her final desires into writing? And why is there such a desperate effort to keep them hidden? For decades, the monarchy has operated behind closed doors, protecting its most sensitive matters from the prying eyes of the public. But now, as whispers of resistance and secrecy grow louder, the question lingers: what was the Queen protecting? And more importantly, what could Camilla stand to lose if those final wishes were brought to light? Queen Elizabeth II was more than just a monarch. She was a symbol of continuity, stability, and deep-rooted tradition. For over 70 years, she upheld the institution, safeguarding its legacy through times of turmoil. But even she knew that change was inevitable. When she passed in 2022, the world mourned the end of an era, but few realized that her influence still lingered, locked away in the form of her final wishes. Like all royal wills, hers was sealed immediately upon her death, a tradition that has safeguarded the monarchy's most private affairs for generations. By law, it is to remain hidden for 90 years, accessible only to the royal archives. And yet, despite its secrecy, this particular will have already ignited a firestorm of speculation. Prince William, the heir to the throne, is said to be unwavering in his commitment to honor his grandmother's instructions. He stands as a pillar of modernity, representing a new generation that seeks transparency and reform within the monarchy. But he is not alone in this battle. Allegedly, forces are working against him, forces determined to suppress whatever truth the Queen's will contains. The names at the center of this resistance: King Charles and Queen Camilla. While Charles has spent a lifetime preparing for the throne, his reign has begun under the shadow of growing controversy. And Camilla, once the most controversial figure in the royal family, now wields a power many never imagined she could. If the late Queen's will truly holds the key to a redefined monarchy, why would Camilla resist it? Could it be that her position is at stake? Speculation runs wild. Could the Queen have left behind instructions that challenged royal traditions, disrupting the carefully curated balance of power? Did she foresee a future where William, not Charles, should take the throne sooner than expected? Or perhaps she made arrangements that weakened Camilla's growing influence, a move that some believe would have been in line with her lifelong loyalty to Princess Diana's memory. After all, Camilla was never meant to be queen. She was originally given the title of Queen Consort as a gesture of respect for Diana's legacy. But now, with her grip on royal affairs growing stronger, some believe she is fighting to hold on to a role she was never meant to have. If Camilla truly refuses to comply with the Queen's will, what is she hiding? The secrecy surrounding this document only fuels the speculation further, and as tension within the royal family intensifies, one thing becomes certain: Prince William is not backing down. The battle between tradition and transformation has only just begun, and the outcome could change the monarchy forever. Let's dive deeper into the growing tensions. From the moment Queen Elizabeth took her final breath, a silent battle for the monarchy's future began. On the surface, King Charles ascended the throne, and Camilla stood beside him as Queen Consort. But behind palace doors, a much deeper struggle was unfolding, one that placed Prince William on a collision course with his stepmother. The monarchy, an institution built on tradition, now stands at a crossroads. William envisions a future where the royal family embraces change, shedding outdated customs in favor of transparency and modernity. But Camilla, who has fought tirelessly for her place within the institution, seems determined to uphold the old ways. Their conflicting visions have ignited a power struggle that could determine the monarchy's survival. For years, Prince William has been preparing for his eventual role as king, closely following in the footsteps of his grandmother. Queen Elizabeth was a symbol of endurance, carefully balancing tradition with the expectations of a rapidly evolving world. She understood that the monarchy's relevance depended on its ability to adapt. And now, William stands as the heir, determined to continue her legacy not just in title, but in principle. His vision is clear: a royal family that is accessible, accountable, and aligned with the people's expectations. He believes the monarchy must earn its place in the modern world, not simply inherit it. But there's one problem: his father and stepmother don't seem to share that vision. Camilla's rise to power has been nothing short of controversial. She was never meant to be queen, at least not in the eyes of the public. When she married Charles, the agreement was that she would be known as Queen Consort. a title meant to soften her presence, in a role that many still associate with Princess Diana. But over time, her influence grew. What was once a subtle presence in the background became a force that shaped royal decisions. Now she stands at the center of the monarchy's power structure, and insiders claim she is using that position to obstruct Queen Elizabeth's final wishes. But why? What does she stand to gain? Some believe Camilla is simply protecting her husband, ensuring that his reign is not overshadowed by past decisions. Others suggest a deeper motivation, one rooted in securing her place in history. If the Queen's will contains instructions that limit Camilla's influence, it would explain why she is resisting. After spending years battling for acceptance within the royal family, would she allow a document from the past to dictate her future? Or is this about something even bigger? Could it be that the late Queen saw this battle coming and left behind instructions to prevent it? The tension between William and Camilla is growing, and it's no longer a quiet conflict hidden from the public eye. Each move they make sends a clear message. William's increasing presence in royal duties, his efforts to connect with the public, and his push for modernization all point to a leader ready to take the throne not in defiance of his father, but in preparation for a future that seems inevitable. Meanwhile, Camilla's control over royal decisions appears stronger than ever. If she truly is standing in the way of the Queen's final wishes, the question remains, what exactly is she trying to protect? To understand Camilla's motives, we need to look at the Queen's most treasured assets and how Camilla handled them. Queen Elizabeth's love for horses was more than just a passion, it was a defining part of her identity. From childhood, she was drawn to the majesty of thoroughbreds, seeing them not just as royal possessions, but as living symbols of tradition, discipline, and heritage. For decades, she carefully nurtured one of the most prestigious royal stables in the world, ensuring that her beloved horses were treated with the highest regard. They weren't just animals to her, they were part of her legacy, an extension of the monarchy itself. But that legacy was shattered in mere months. As the world mourned the Queen's passing, Camilla wasted no time making changes, and her first move? Selling off the very horses the Queen had cherished the most. It wasn't just a handful of animals. Camilla oversaw the sale of dozens, including some of the Queen's most prized and well-bred champions. The very creatures that had carried the Queen's pride, that had been handpicked and raised under her watchful eye, were now being handed over to the highest bidders. Some went to elite buyers, others to unknown private owners, but the message was clear: Camilla had no interest in preserving this part of the Queen's legacy, and that decision sent shockwaves through the royal family. The Queen had never explicitly stated that her horses must remain in royal hands, but those who knew her best understood what this act truly meant. It wasn't just about selling livestock. It was about erasing a part of Queen Elizabeth's presence, about asserting dominance over the traditions she had built. Princess Anne, known for her unwavering loyalty to her mother's values, was livid. She had spent her life respecting royal traditions, upholding the Queen's standards, and standing as one of the few members of the royal family with a genuine love for equestrian culture. To her, Camilla's decision wasn't just disrespectful, it was a blatant betrayal. Reports suggest that she confronted Camilla directly, demanding an explanation. But Camilla remained unfazed, dismissing concerns with the justification that it was a matter of practicality, that managing such an extensive stable was unnecessary. To the outside world, it seemed like a mere administrative decision, but to those within the palace walls, it was something far more significant. Camilla had set a precedent. She had proven that she was willing to disregard the Queen's unwritten wishes, to dismantle what she saw as outdated remnants of a past monarchy. And if she was willing to do it with something as close to the Queen's heart as her horses, what else was she capable of? The sale of the Queen's horses wasn't an isolated incident. It was the first visible sign of Camilla's control. A calculated move that made it clear she wasn't simply a passive figure standing beside King Charles. She had her vision for the monarchy, one that did not necessarily align with the traditions Elizabeth had so carefully preserved. The public barely had time to react before another wave of concerns emerged, because if Camilla was so quick to part with something as deeply personal as the Queen's beloved thoroughbreds, what else within the royal estate was she willing to let go? The answer to that question would soon unfold, and it would raise even bigger concerns about the monarchy's future. Prince William isn't staying silent. He believes his grandmother's final wishes must be honored, and he is willing to fight for them. But as he pushes forward, he faces an unexpected force of resistance, not from the public, not from the institution, but from within his own family. At the center of it all is King Charles, the man who now wears the crown, yet seems unwilling to confront the growing controversy surrounding Queen Elizabeth's sealed will. Insiders claim Charles is protecting Camilla, choosing stability over transparency, even if it means defying the very woman whose legacy he vowed to uphold. The question is why? Why would a man who waited a lifetime for the throne hesitate when faced with a direct challenge to the monarchy's credibility? And why does Camilla's growing influence seem to be at the heart of it all? For years, Camilla's place within the royal family was uncertain. She was once the outsider, the woman who nearly tore the institution apart. But now, she holds more power than anyone could have predicted. Some believe she is using that power to ensure her role remains unchallenged, even if it means keeping the Queen's final instructions buried. The secrecy surrounding the will has fueled speculation that it contains something deeply disruptive, perhaps something that calls into question the monarchy's current structure. And if that is the case, then William's fight is not just about honoring his grandmother's wishes. It is about protecting the very future of the royal family from being reshaped in Camilla's image. William knows that public support is his greatest weapon. Unlike his father, who spent decades trying to repair his reputation, William has always had the backing of the people. His mother, Princess Diana, ensured that he and his brother were raised with a connection to the public that past monarchs had never embraced. And now, that connection is stronger than ever. Every move he makes, every speech he delivers, every public appearance he attends, it all serves one purpose: to show that he is ready. Ready to lead, ready to modernize, and most importantly, ready to fight for what is right. And the more support he gathers, the more of a threat he becomes to those who wish to keep the Queen's wishes hidden. But Camilla is no stranger to survival. She has spent decades navigating controversy, turning public scorn into acceptance, and quietly securing her place at the center of the royal family. If she is resisting the will's release, it is not out of fear, it is strategy. By keeping the past buried, she strengthens her grip on the present. And if King Charles is standing by her side, unwilling to challenge her decisions, then William is facing an opponent far more powerful than he ever expected. This is not just a family dispute, it is a battle for the soul of the monarchy itself. If the Queen's will is being ignored, then the question becomes even more urgent. What's inside it that the monarchy wants to keep hidden? What could be so shocking inside the Queen's will that King Charles and Camilla refuse to acknowledge it? Every British monarch's will is sealed for 90 years, a long-standing royal tradition meant to protect the monarchy's stability. But this time, something feels different. The secrecy surrounding Queen Elizabeth's final wishes has ignited a firestorm of speculation, fueling whispers that what lies within could shake the very foundations of the royal family. If the will contained nothing of consequence, why such resistance to even discussing its contents? Why the deafening silence from the palace? The monarchy has weathered centuries of turmoil, scandals, and betrayals. But could this hidden document be the one thing that threatens its very existence? Theories are running wild. Could the Queen have left behind a succession plan that altered the path of the monarchy? Prince William, long seen as the future of the institution, has already stepped up in ways that make him look more like a king than an heir. Some believe that the will contains instructions for a transition of power, one that might see William take the throne sooner than expected. If this were true, it would explain why Charles and Camilla are so desperate to keep the will locked away. After waiting decades to rule, would Charles step aside voluntarily? Or is he holding on to power, knowing that his mother's last words could change everything? But there is another theory that places Camilla directly in the crosshairs. Could the Queen have imposed restrictions on Camilla's influence? Despite decades of controversy, Camilla's rise to power has been steady, calculated, and ultimately successful. From being vilified as the other woman to now holding the title of Queen, her transformation is undeniable. But what if Queen Elizabeth never intended for this to happen? What if her final instructions limited Camilla's role, perhaps even stripping her of certain privileges? The late Queen was known for her careful and deliberate approach to tradition. Would she have allowed the woman once blamed for Diana's heartbreak to rewrite the monarchy's future? If Camilla's position was ever in jeopardy, it would explain why she is allegedly standing in the way of the will's release. And then there's the most explosive possibility of all, the redistribution of royal assets. For decades, speculation has surrounded how the Queen planned to divide her vast wealth and estates. Did she intend for a significant portion to go directly to William and Kate, bypassing King Charles altogether? If true, this wouldn't just be a blow to Charles, it would be a full-scale power shift. The monarchy's financial structure is deeply rooted in history, and any deviation from the norm could set a dangerous precedent. If William and Kate were meant to receive direct control over key royal properties or funds, it would signal the Queen's trust in their leadership over her own son's reign. Could it be that the secrecy around the will is not just about protecting the monarchy's image, but about preventing a fundamental power shift? The possibilities are endless, but one thing remains certain. This document holds something that the royal family doesn't want the world to see, and the longer the silence stretches, the louder the public's demands grow. What does their refusal to acknowledge the Queen's final wishes truly mean? And more importantly, how long can they keep the truth buried before it finally comes to light? The public wants answers, but Camilla and King Charles remain silent. What does their silence mean? The royal family has said nothing about the Queen's will. No denial, no confirmation, no attempt to put the swirling rumors to rest. But in the absence of answers, one truth remains: silence speaks louder than words. And in this case, it is deafening. The monarchy, an institution built on centuries of carefully managed public perception, thrives on controlling the narrative. But this time, they are losing control. The secrecy surrounding Queen Elizabeth's final wishes is fueling a storm of speculation, one that threatens to expose divisions within the palace walls. If the will contained nothing controversial, why not disclose its contents? If there were no hidden truths, no shocking revelations, why not put the rumors to rest? What exactly is being protected, and at what cost? Some believe this silence is a shield, a calculated effort to protect Camilla's fragile reputation. Her journey from scandal to the throne was already a battle against public opinion, and any revelation that casts doubt on her legitimacy could undo years of careful image rehabilitation. If the Queen's will contained instructions that limited Camilla's influence, or worse, if it explicitly contradicted her newfound authority, then keeping it hidden would be essential for maintaining the monarchy's current structure. But shielding one individual at the expense of the entire institution is a dangerous gamble. The public is growing impatient, and the longer the palace refuses to address the speculation, the more damaging it becomes. There is also the question of King Charles. As monarch, he has the power to bring clarity and to end the controversy with a single statement. Yet he remains silent, caught between loyalty and legacy. If the will favors William in ways that challenge Charles's authority, then acknowledging its contents could weaken his already fragile grip on the throne. But by refusing to address the speculation, he risks appearing complicit in deception, in secrecy, in suppressing the very wishes of the woman who dedicated her life to the crown. And for a monarchy that depends on public trust to survive, that is a dangerous position to be in. But the silence cannot last forever. Public pressure is building, the demand for transparency grows louder. The people who once accepted tradition without question are no longer willing to be kept in the dark. If the palace continues to resist, will they only fuel suspicions further, or will they be forced to reveal the truth before it's too late? With growing frustration, all eyes are now on King Charles. Will he break his silence, or continue protecting Camilla? King Charles faces an impossible choice: stand by Camilla or uphold his mother's final wishes. The weight of the crown has never been heavier, and the decisions he makes now will define his reign forever. For years, he subtly hinted that one day he might step aside, allowing Prince William to take the throne sooner than expected. It was an idea that for a time seemed possible, a quiet transition that would see a younger, more modern leader usher in the next era of the British monarchy. But now, as controversy swirls around Queen Elizabeth's hidden will, Charles's stance has shifted. He is no longer the reluctant king. He is holding on to power with a quiet, unshakable determination. And with Camilla standing firmly by his side, many are beginning to wonder who is truly making the decisions inside Buckingham Palace. Camilla's influence has grown in ways no one predicted. She was once an outsider, a woman whose presence in royal affairs sparked outrage, scandal, and division. But now, she is firmly embedded within the monarchy's inner circle, wielding power in ways that even Queen Elizabeth never allowed. Some believe she is shaping the monarchy to fit her vision, ensuring that the traditions and rules of the past do not interfere with the reign she and Charles have built together. But if the Queen's final wishes contradict this newfound power, if the will contains instructions that limit Camilla's role or even challenge the authority of the current reign, then Charles is faced with a decision that could tear the royal family apart. The pressure is mounting, Prince William is rising, and the people are watching. His actions, his presence, and his vision for the future of the monarchy have gained unprecedented public support. Many see him as the rightful leader of the next generation, a man who represents stability, progress, and a break from the past. The more William steps into the spotlight, the more Charles's silence becomes a liability. If the Queen's will truly favor William in ways that disrupt Charles's authority, how long can the king avoid addressing the issue? And more importantly, what happens if the truth comes out and Charles is seen as the one who tried to suppress it? The monarchy has survived centuries of turmoil, betrayal, and scandal, but never before has a battle for the throne been so subtly fought from within. The balance of power is shifting, and the decisions made in the coming months could change the future of the royal family forever. If Charles chooses to stand by Camilla, he risks alienating both his son and the people who have supported the monarchy for generations. If he acknowledges the Queen's will and the instructions she left behind, he risks unraveling everything he and Camilla have built. It is a choice between tradition and loyalty, between duty and self-preservation. But as the world watches and the pressure builds, one question remains. Could this controversy lead to the biggest shift in the monarchy's history? The British monarchy is at a turning point. Prince William is rising, King Charles is struggling, and Camilla's defiance may change everything. For centuries, the monarchy has survived wars, scandals, and betrayals, but now it faces a battle unlike any before. A battle for relevance, trust, and its very survival. The royal family has always relied on the unwavering loyalty of its people, but that loyalty is not unconditional. With each unanswered question, with every silence that lingers too long, the foundations of the monarchy weaken. Secrecy breeds distrust, and the public is no longer willing to accept half-truths and tradition as justification for silence. The longer the Queen's final wishes remain buried, the more people begin to wonder what is being hidden. And why? Prince William and Kate stand as the monarchy's strongest hope. Young, modern, and deeply connected to the people, they represent the future that many believe the crown desperately needs. Their growing influence is undeniable, and their popularity is unmatched. If Charles and Camilla continue resisting transparency, will they risk dividing the family even further? Could public sentiment shift so drastically that the monarchy is forced to change in ways it never intended? Some believe this is the moment that will define the next generation of the royal family, where the old ways will either adapt or collapse under the weight of growing public scrutiny. The question now is not just about the Queen's will, it is about the monarchy itself. How much longer can it operate in secrecy? How long can it ignore the voices demanding answers? If this controversy continues to grow, it could become the final push that forces a reckoning, a moment where tradition is no longer enough to protect those in power. Charles and Camilla may be trying to control the narrative, but the world is watching. And history has proven that no institution, no matter how powerful, can remain unchanged forever. Will the truth about the Queen's final wishes ever come out? Or will the monarchy continue to keep it buried, hoping that time, once again, will allow them to escape the consequences? One thing is certain, this is not just a battle over a will. It is a battle for the future of the British monarchy itself. And that future is anything but certain. What you think about this whole situation? Share your thoughts in the comments section. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we will see you in the next one.